Johnny Laub, it's always good to have you on the stream. This has become an annual tradition. And you know why? Not only good for you, I know you enjoy coming on, but this is really helpful to all of the RotoWire and John Laub followers, man. I mean, we do a little of the title like sleepers that you must draft, whatever the hell we called this one, but this one's just filled to the gill with knowledge. So 10,000-foot view, John Laub, of the rookie class. I've heard everything. Here's the common narratives. Running back is deep. I hate this class. I'm going to push that to the side. Give me the 5 most important things after studying the rookie class. Start with number 1.
You better draft 3 running backs in your dynasty drafts if you have 5 rounds. You've got to lean into the running back position. I'll also say this. I was just on a FPC. Is it FPPC?
No, FFPC. PP is what you do in the toilet, John.
I was on FFPC show, and I can't believe the rookie running back values rounds 15 or later. I said I'm leaving with 3 rookies in rounds 15 to 20.
Oh, and it's in like a startup or a best ball setting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's how unbelievably strong it is. I'm leaning into it. Wide receivers. There's no stud. Last year we were spoiled. That is not normal in my 40 years to come out. And I'll still put Marvin Harrison in the stud category. I don't give up on him in 1 year. To get 4 studs in the first round is unbelievable. But this wide receiver class is better than people are giving it, in my opinion. And there's a lot of number 2 wide receivers.
So there's a lot of like innings fillers, like guys that are going to be starters, but they're just not going to be like Jamar Chase. That's what you're saying.
Yes, and I love Jordan Addison on my fantasy teams.
Zay Flowers.
Yes, I got no problem with players like that. So get one, identify the guy you like, and go ahead and get him. Tight end. I think everyone has to make a decision. Am I paying top freight for Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland, or am I dumpster diving? I'm still a dumpster diver. I don't know. It's hurt me at times. Brock Bowers, I don't have any. So last year it didn't work. But overall, last year I had teams with Jonnu Smith on it that I've been sitting on in dynasty leagues. So you've got to lean into, maybe I draft a tight end who will develop 3 years down the road. And that's hard in dynasty.
Like the David Njoku type, right? I mean,
yes, David Njoku, someone later. So I think that's a decision you have to make before every draft. I am disappointed in the quarterbacks. There's no question about it. I'm not going to reach. I only have one who I think is a slam dunk. That's Cam Ward. We'll talk about it later on. I think you have to, in the super flex, lean into the Cam Ward. Everyone else has a massive range of outcomes, Alan. They could hit, or they could be like that the 2021 class with Malik Willis, Sam Howell, and those guys, Kenny Pickett. So you have to be wary of that. And then I would just say, I like the class overall better than I think most people, because I think what happens, they center on the top 6 prospects. Right. And they kind of make their decision with the top 6 prospects heavy and quarterback heavy perspective. Dig deeper. There's going to be value in the 4th and 5th round. Hey, I know the odds are against us. We've all been in the 4th round. You look back 3 years ago and you're like, oh my God, there's only one player. But that's our job, right? To find that 4th round player. But you got to know the player pool, and the landing spots are going to matter for some of these players. Real significant, a lot, especially at a wide receiver position.
I love that. Right there. That's the podcast. We'll see you later next week, everybody. Now, you said something that I thought was very interesting here. It's about Cam Ward, and you use the term range of outcomes for all these players, right? I've never seen anywhere, I mean, maybe once or twice, the 101, because we're going to assume he goes at 101 in the real NFL draft, John, right?
Yes.
All right. So 101 quarterback in like our super flex, our 2 quarterback leagues, usually is like the 1st or 2nd pick. Like I've seen in all these rookie mocks, Cam Ward is like the 3rd, the 4th pick. What is there such? I mean, is there no upside with Cam Ward? What are you seeing with him that you called him a slam dunk, but it seems like Dynasty rookie drafters see him as a little bit lower ceiling than a typical 101?
I think they're not understanding roster construction. We have all been in super flex leagues in between injuries, benchings, changes in coaching staff. You're looking at your quarterback and it goes from solid to poor within 2 months. So I'm going to assume if you're in the bottom 3 picks of a super flex draft, Allen, aren't we going to assume you're weak at the quarterback position? That usually is the difference maker on good to bad teams, right? Once we get in the middle from, 5th to 11th, there's a lot of range on how good your quarterbacks. But if you're bottom 3, you're probably bad at the quarterback position. And Allen, it's position scarcity. We know this is the cheapest you'll ever get a quarterback in a super flex. You can't trade for him unless you're going to pay some outrageous freight. I mean, I just don't do that, right? So if you're bad, I'm taking Cam Ward, and I'll then literally draft 3 straight running backs, rounds 2, 3, and 4. All I have to do is hit on one. It's the deepest running back class since 2017.
That's the Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook year?
Yes, the Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, Tyler,
right.
Kareem Hunt. Right. Really good class. If I get Ward to solidify one of my 2 quarterback positions, all I have to do is hit on one running back, dude. So how can try to get a quarterback in round 2 or 3?
Right. I mean, Jalen Hurts a couple of years ago is the best story, and that's like the complete outlier. I mean, even if Jalen Milroe goes in the second round of the real NFL draft, he's going at pick, like, people know now to take him like a pick 11 in the first round of your rookie draft.
Yes. Hey, I just got him in a mock draft in round 3.
Yeah.
And I said on a recent show, that's never happening now. It's not. He's going to. I think. You know what's going to happen, Alan? The industry is going to identify him as Anthony Richardson and Trey Lance. They're going to talk about upside ceiling. He's going to be pushed up the board.
We're talking about Milroe.
Yes. He's going to be pushed up the board so much. I bet you I have no Milroe now. He's just going to go too expensive for me.
You know what's going to be interesting? There's a lot of similarities between him and Jalen Hurts from a couple years ago. If you remember, John, right? Jalen Hurts was drafted in the second round of the real NFL draft to the Eagles when Carson Wentz was coming off like an MVP-ish, 10-game stretch. So, and people thought he was dead in Dynasty. So even if Milroe gets drafted to a team that has, a quote entrenched starter like, Jared Goff, right? I mean, that's how you'll get him at the cheaper price point, right? Like if he goes to a team that has like a shaky starter, right? Like if he goes behind, say, like if the Jets get him in round 2, then people will push him up the board in our rookie draft. So yeah, you're hoping is Milroe someone's obviously who you like? You're hoping that he goes to a team where it's like perceived that he gets pushed down the board. So
how about Arizona?
All right.
They want to move on in a year from Kyler Murray, and they decide that let's sit Milroe for a year. Then I would love him in the second round of a dynasty draft. That to me, I'll say this out. I have him at number 4, but there are yellow flags in my model. He is not Jalen Hurts. I think that is uniform scouting. Jalen Hurts was much better after a year under Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. He was a much better thrower of the football than Jalen Milroe is right now entering the NFL.
So who's your Milroe comp? Malik Willis?
Running is Lamar Jackson.
Whoa, hold on one second. Hold on. My heart just skipped a beat there, Johnny. Hold on one second. Lamar Jackson is the best runner in the history of football.
He's that good as a runner.
Oh, my God. Okay. All right. Keep going.
But as a thrower, Will Levis.
All right. That's not terrible.
It could get you benched if you're hitting 52%. It'll get you benched in the NFL.
Yes.
But if you're getting the ball in the end zone, you might keep it. Look at the range of outcomes is so wide out. It is his deep ball is awesome, but his accuracy, woo.
Right. Well, remember Will Levis's first start, the 4 touchdowns?
Yes.
Right. Like that's the upside, right?
Yes.
Right. But then the downside is, 28 throws and 3 of them are picks.
Yes. Yes.
Right. And that's where you get the benching. All right. So back to the beginning of our conversation here, John Laub, is that you said Cam Ward based on because, the team that has Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen on the same team is not finishing in last place. It's the team that had Dak and Tua and just was in QB hell. Right?
Yes.
Right. So you want to stabilize the position, but the opportunity cost in our rookie drafts of taking Cam Ward is Ashton Jeanty. So is Ashton Jeanty, I'm going to use the G word, hold on, generational enough to pass on for someone like Cam Ward in fantasy football? And I'm going to give you, let's say that he goes 5th to the Jaguars, like a solid spot, but not like the nuts. So Jeanty to the Jaguars is going to be the 101. Is Cam Ward worth passing on Jeanty because of the depth that you just told me we have at the running back spot?
I would pass on Jeanty or trade down, grab an extra 3rd round pick. And then what I would do is there's going to be a good running back at the top of round 2 on the board. So the decision to me, can I get an extra pick? I think you can get an extra pick by that. And then would I want Ward and Caleb Johnson or Quinshawn Judkins, or do I want Jeanty and Shedeur Sanders? I'm going to go Ward and Quinshawn Judkins over Ashton Jeanty and Shedeur Sanders.
That is the clippable moment of this podcast, folks. Right. But even if it's someone like, I don't know how you feel about the like Ollie Gordon, DJ. Like, I'm just going to say some names because Caleb Johnson would be a great haul if you got that. Right. But like, what if it ends up being like DJ Giddens? You like him? We'll go into his thing in a minute. But like, who's someone in that range do you like? Do you like Devin Neal, Tootin? Like, who's the guy in that range that you're most bullish on?
Well, my 2nd round picks, it would be Quinshawn Judkins and Caleb Johnson would be at the top of this. If there is
but those guys are going to get pushed up, man. They're brand new. So? Yeah. Well, I'm assuming like those. So like the next one down, which we know for sure is going to be in the 2nd round, because really what I'm leading you on here is to say is adding like DJ Giddens or RJ Harvey, whoever your favorite guy in that range, is that enough to move down from that 101 spot to 102? Because we were talking on this podcast a lot, like, how do you move from 101 to 102? Like, what's the stress? Like, what's the compensation? And it's for a discussion. So back to my question, is one of those guaranteed 2nd round, not like fringy 2nd round guys, enough to move down?
Yes. RJ Harvey, Dylan Sampson.
Right. Those are the
or
guys.
Damian Martinez landing in Pittsburgh or Dallas. I would love to have Damian Martinez in Pittsburgh at the 202.
John, Cam Skattebo, start with like just the 1-word answer, and then I have a question. In or out on Cam Skattebo right now, not knowing the landing spot?
Out.
Okay. If he so that's good. The reason I asked you for 1 word is because it's going to shape my question. Cam Skattebo in a good landing spot where he's immediately going to get pushed on the field? In or out, or he's got to fall to you, it sounds like.
It's got to fall to me. I'm not going to. I have him at number 11 in my ranking.
Oh, all right. So why not? Because I liked him. But I again, it's just eyeball tests. You're getting into the film, John Laub. You're getting into the numbers. Why is Cam Skattebo a terrible pick for smart dynasty owners?
So here's what I'm going to say. If you put him in any analytical model, you're going to love him. I get it. And I understand why all the analytics people love him. My model likes him. But here's where context matters. And I think watching film matters.
On Cam Skattebo specifically?
Yes.
Okay.
He is not going to get away with his running style in the NFL. My friend, he makes these double jump cut spin moves at the line of scrimmage. And you can get away with that in college football in the Big 12. How are you going to do that in the NFL, my friend? Now, I could be completely wrong. Maybe he gets away with the double, the Barry. I'm jokingly when I say this. He thinks he's Barry Sanders. There's only one Barry Sanders. Also, show me a clip where he runs away from people in the open field. At Arizona State, he was able to give people a stiff arm who are going to be dental hygienists in 4 years.
The old joke used to be they're going to be selling insurance.
There you go.
Now they're dental hygienists.
I
like how you've updated, for 2025, right?
So he's not getting away with that against safeties and linebackers in the NFL, my friend. So what makes an elite fantasy runner? It's the breakaway run. Saquon, you'd watch the game and he'd have 12 carries, 48 yards. You'd be like, okay, and boom, 60-yard touchdown. Skattebo's not going to get that.
Right.
He's not running away from people. Now, he could be goal line, and he has utility as a pass catcher.
So he could be like Jamal Williams, is what you're saying.
Yes, I think that's a good comp.
All right.
Nothing wrong is your fourth running back, Jamal Williams, but people are overpaying for him.
Right. Jamal Williams was a 4th-round pick in our rookie drafts.
Yes.
Aaron Jones was going ahead of him and went 2 rounds after him.
Yes. And I made it to a championship game 2 or 3 years. Remember, he had that high touchdown equity because I sat on him. But then he's never replicated that one season, right? So maybe in 2 years when Skattebo gets his opportunity at goal line and maybe he gets 45, 50 receptions. But, man, I don't see he's not a 1,200-yard rusher, Alan. Isn't that what the core that we're looking for out of a back?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's Skattebo, like you said, the goal line thing. But you're right. That's not a guy worth taking at 202. That's a guy worth taking at, 210 when you hate everything on the board, or 310 or 305 just because, it's a running back, right? It's a running back on a roster in a good spot.
Yeah. And why did he not run the 40?
Well, because it was going to be slow.
Yeah. That's the only inference we can make, right, my friend? He's not what I mean, I'm taking the worst scenario. What if he's a 4.7? Right. That's probably why he didn't run.
Right. Where do you think he's gonna go in the real NFL draft? Like, if you have to give me his floor. Like, there's no way a team's gonna see him there and be like, we have to take him. Is it the end of the third? Oh, end of the second. He's gonna go in the second.
I think coaching staffs and scouting departments are going to rank him much higher than I do. Now, there's going to be some smart organizations that say, I don't think he's got the home run hitting ability that we need. But then there's going to be the coach like Mike Vrabel. Like, he's the type of guy who would look at Skattebo and go, oh, the 3rd round, I got to get Skattebo. Like, that's like his type of player.
Who's a comp for Camp Skattebo? Is it? I mean, I said Jamal Williams. If that's
I think that Jamal Williams is perfect. I can't outdo that, my friend.
Yeah, and right. And if you draft Jamal Williams, right? Yeah, I mean, he like you said, he was a top 12 fantasy running back that one season where
that one season.
Yeah,
that might happen with Skattebo.
Yeah, I mean, you have me thinking there. All right, just want to let everyone know, John, that right now, RotoWire, to get behind our unlock our paywall, get behind, see our premium content, or any of our prop pickers, anything, we're doing a special right now, 15% off any RotoWire product. So you just go to rotowire.com and then put in code ROTO15, ROTO, the number 15, get 15% off any product. Obviously, we have our Dynasty stuff up there. If you're into fantasy baseball, tons of elite fantasy baseball stuff. Already basketball rankings for next year, master stuff. And then again, the prop picker, one of our premium tools there, is amazing. It scans across all of the major pick'em sites. Do you play pick'ems, John?
I used to. I just haven't over the last 2 years. Connecticut changed their laws.
Right.
And I think 2 or 3 years ago, Prize Picks was taken off of Connecticut. So we only basically have FanDuel and DraftKings, which is fine. But basically, we only have FanDuel and DraftKings available to us here.
I like that you called it fan drool.
I do like DraftKings better. Oops.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, listen, we're just talking honest here. We don't sugarcoat for the people. Yeah, no, you know what? It's like I was on a bad run with with props, and then no BS, John. I started using the prop picker on RotoWire, and it put me back in the right direction there. It actually talks about hit rate. So Roto15 at rotowire.com. And also, before we continue, John, what's nowadays, what's the most important piece of content that you're working on right now?
So I just finished all the rookies on Player Profiler. Right now are my 8 sleeper players. Some of them are running backs, but 8 sleepers on Player Profiler. I'm basically all done. I finally wrapped up, Alan, everything, and I'll be getting ready for the post-draft assessment, depending on where players land. So what I said was, remember Etienne? I was a little concerned about his size coming out of Texas A&M.
Devon Etienne, the running back. Devon Etienne, the running back now in the Miami Dolphins, right?
Yeah. Once he landed in Mike McDaniel's Miami's offense, I was like, to the moon, people. So, there are opportunities for players to move up and down.
Well, give me the most volatile player this year. If Etienne was from a couple years ago, who's going to be the most landing spot dependent? Now, I know that's a lot of guys, because if you're buried behind, like if you get drafted to be the Jets running back, you're behind Brees, you're behind 2 rookies that show they could play. That's bad. But so who's that most volatile guy, just as far as his skills versus opportunity quotient?
Bayshell Tootin, Virginia
Tech. Tell me about him.
Oh, my God. I really like him. He's my running back 10. Alan, I am a size nut. He has a BMI of 30.4, which is over my benchmark.
What is your benchmark?
30.
Okay.
So he's over it. He's 206 pounds at 5'9". I mean, he is just all man. But the speed is out of control for a man his size. 4.32 at the combine. But he also hit his 20-yard shuttle and his 10-yard split are very nice. He has explosion and burst. Now, remember Tevin Coleman at Atlanta coming out of Indiana. He's a straight line runner. He needs a runway, Alan. I would say he has good, not great vision. And he has some juke moves, right? But not superstar moves. What I'll say is this is where it's sometimes difficult when you don't know the coaching staff. I don't know if Virginia Tech told him to just run to the gap and just go. And when the gap's there, you're going to explode through it. Did they coach him not to make moves behind the line of scrimmage? Remember, there's some coaching staffs who want you to hit the hole. I remember Jimmy Johnson at Dallas. Emmitt Smith hit the hole. I don't care. We'll open it enough for you. So the athleticism says that he should be able to be a lateral mover. We don't have it on film. To me, does he end up with a Shanahan or a McDaniel? I think he needs a wide zone scheme. And I need an offensive coordinator who's going to put him out in space. Because if he gets in space, Alan, he's going to be a major problem with his speed and his pass-catching ability. But let's say he went to Mike Vrabel, and they were going to grind him between the tackles. I'm out. Like, he's not a grinder. I need him to, what's the word? Efficiency.
Right.
Limited touches, high efficiency.
What's his upside case comp in the NFL?
Devon Etienne.
Oh, okay. And what's the median, a double, good, not great comp?
Deion Lewis out of when he was in New England and then got signed with Tennessee.
Dude, Deion was a top 12 fantasy running back. That's pretty damn upside. Give me something lower.
You see, so I guess overall Deion got hurt, so you're right.
Here, while you're talking through it, because Tootin is somebody that everybody likes, but no one likes him enough to push him up the board to 203. Like, everyone loves taking him in the 3rd round of our drafts.
That's the
right?
best spot.
But give me the even just modern NFL. Who's a player right now? I'm thinking it through. Is it Jaylen Warren? Is he better than that?
Oh, I think he's better than Jaylen Warren.
Okay. All right. So that's good. You want Jaylen Warren on your team at the 210. Like what like I'm saying is give everyone that's listening, that's heard the name Bashal Tutin, that
Oh,
knows that people like him, but what's the NFL, a good outcome for him?
let's say a healthy J.K. Dobbins.
That's great. I mean, that is great. That's a guy that you put him in your lineup. You're never worried. He gets his 12 carries, 14 carries. And sometimes he gives you the 180 for 2, and sometimes he just gives you 53 yards.
Yeah. Or maybe, and his floor might be DeAndre Swift in the right. Yeah.
And I see that's what I like, because everyone hates DeAndre Swift, but no one's trading him for peanuts, right? You want him on your roster.
And if you look at DeAndre Swift from a dynasty perspective, and I think, Alan, we all want Barkley. I get it. But if you drafted DeAndre Swift, he's been in your top 2 spots or flex position every game that he started. Like we all play in large flex leagues, right? With 2 or 3. DeAndre Swift's your top 3 back unless you're somehow loaded at the running back position.
All right, let's take a short break here. And then when we come back, John, we're going to talk about Ollie Gordon, someone who I haven't heard a lot about. So I just need, I seem to like him, but I'm curious of what you think and why or why not. We'll be right back. All right, we're back with John Laub from Player Profiler. I'm Alan Seslowsky of RotoWire.com, and we are talking rookies that smart fantasy owners are either avoiding or they're drafting. So Ollie Gordon, the one word, I always like to start with the one word, in or out, based on where you're going to have to draft him.
In on the round in which I draft him.
Okay, and where do you think he's going to go in the real NFL draft?
I know this is crazy. I think Dallas is going to like him. It's from the Big 12. Jerry Jones, I think, watches Big 12 football because he's from Arkansas. It's that part of the state. He's big and strong. Now, the combine disappointed me. I didn't expect him to be this slow. 4.61 is not but he is 6'1", 226. So it's not a complete disaster. What worries me most is his 10-yard split.
And one second, so stop there, because I hear 10-yard split a lot. I'm an educated combine guy. What is the 10-yard split? Why is that so significant? The exercise they do at the event they do at the combine. Why is that important for NFL teams? And then go back to the Ollie Gordon stuff.
You have to first be bursty to get through the hole, and then explosive at the second level. What that tells me is he might be a little slow getting through the hole. And we know in the NFL, those holes on your defense, they close a lot faster. And that's going to be a concern to me. Will those linebackers and defensive linemen be able to get a hold of them quicker?
It's the 0
have the size.
It's the 0 to 60 speed, right? Like
yes.
Okay. All right. So now you were going like Ollie Gordon. You think Dallas is going to like him earlier than most.
Yes.
So do you think that he has a chance is he a quote sleeper at all? I mean, is he a value?
He's going to become a value because if he's a 4th round pick, depending on landing spot, he'll go down the board. But I do think everyone knows the name. Right? He's someone that people talk about, but I would be willing to grab him in the 4th round of a dynasty draft as one of my 3 players because he does have touchdown equity.
A rookie draft.
226 pounds.
Yeah, big boy.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you're saying like if you're sitting there at 402, the Braylon Allen spot from last year.
Sounds good to me. I'm fine with it.
Right, because you're happy. You're happy if you took Braylon Allen at 311, 404. You're not happy if you maybe you are happy if you took him at the 210 because that was like Marshawn last year. Marshawn Lloyd, Jalen Wright. Let's get off topic for a second. Any of those guys? Do you still believe in them at all? Lloyd,
right now, no.
Right.
No.
So there's who was going over there last year? It was Marshawn Lloyd who was injured, so he gets the mulligan.
Trey Benson.
Well, those guys were going way early. They were going 202.
Okay. Amani Vidal, Ray Davis.
Dead. Oh no, Ray Davis is fine. Ray Davis, you're happy about.
I guess you are. Yes. He's been a good. You're right. He's not bad.
How about Jalen Wright, who they paid basically a third rounder this year? They drafted him in the fourth, but they gave their third this year. So I consider him a third round real NFL pick. The Miami Dolphins running back. Any hope for him at this point?
As long as they don't draft the running back. Yes.
What if they draft like a Damian Martinez in the fifth round?
Then I'd be very worried. Very worried. Because Damian Martinez would have a specific role in Miami. That would be the goal line pounding back, which was Raheem Mostert 2 years ago. And then you use Devon Achane as your home run hitter.
Okay. All right. A couple of these other. How about Trevor Etienne? We don't have to spend a ton of time on him, but his name doesn't get mentioned at all. I mean, give me the lowdown on him. All the same questions. Projected round. What's his upside downside?
So he's one of my more disappointing backs when I've analyzed him. If you go back to Florida, if you don't know, one, he's Travis Etienne's brother. So that's important.
Is that an endorsement or is that a knock?
Well, that's the interest. It depends on your perspective right now. Allen, his freshman year at Florida in the SEC was very good, like eye-opening good. Sophomore year was not as good. He transfers to Georgia, and I was like, oh my God, they're two top backs left the program. They had injuries at the running back position. The doorway was open for opportunity, and he failed with the opportunity at Georgia, which we know historically with Kirby, and even before Kirby, they're going to run the football, the Bulldogs, if all things are equal. So I was disappointed watching the film at Georgia. I look at him in my model, and there's two yellow flags that concern me. First one, his team dominator, yards from scrimmage, is only 19% in his best season. He has never shown me the ability to carry the workload, and that to me is a red flag. Second, he doesn't have a lot of carries of 10-plus yards. He only had 17 carries last year of 10-plus yards. So if you look, Damian Martinez, who's kind of a grinder, had 24 carries of 10-plus yards. Skattebo has 45. I mean, those are two yellow flags. I think he's going to go in the sixth round. And the odds of becoming, I'd almost rather have him be an undrafted free agent and choose his landing spot with a good agent who identifies an opportunity for him.
Yeah, you brought up a good point there that a lot of these guys, their agents say to them, like to the teams, just don't draft him in the 6th or 7th round. We'd rather be a UDFA.
Yes.
Plus you get the only 3-year contract, which is good too. Then you could, that James Robinson, right? He was that.
Yeah.
guy.
And then you pick your landing spot. You might look at it. Hey, they got an ancient player, ancient's relative, 28, 29-year-old running back, and they drafted a rookie in the 3rd round.
I know
let me go there.
Yeah, I know we love the NFL draft for, all the obvious reasons, but it's the only like profession in the world where they like draft you. You can't just go where you want. Imagine you were an accountant and like Chase Bank was having a draft and you'd have to go there. No, I get to pick where I want to go. They should do that.
I thought about that a lot. Like, imagine if I'm in a school or I'm in a town with Yale Law School, right? Can you imagine if they took the Ivy League lawyers and they had a draft of the top 12 accounting or law firms in the country? Like that, it's kind of crazy, but that's a whole difference. I think about that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, rookies should be free agents, right? Like the colleges, which are now like professionals. I mean, I love the draft and I get it, and especially in a salary cap world, right? It's not like that the Yankees could just go get everybody they want. There's unlimited budget, but why are we giving, the number 1 overall pick to Tennessee? Because they stunk. Well, then go out there and, recruit better.
So I will argue that was Pete Rozell's genius in the 60s when he took over the NFL. If you don't know, he was a general manager of the Rams. He becomes the commissioner. And one thing that he was worried about, if you read about Pete Rozelle, and I've read so many, I love NFL history. I'm a history teacher, so I love NFL history. He was worried about the smaller markets like Green Bay. And I will tell you, If Rozelle doesn't implement the draft, I don't think Green Bay is in Green Bay, Wisconsin in 2024. The reason they're able to survive is because of the draft and the salary cap. Now they sell out, but that's not how you need the television audience. You need the fan base, all of that. New York, Chicago would have just swallowed up teams like Green Bay. So there is some genius in how they did it. It would be more what we would call free market capitalism, but how many small teams would still be around?
You make a great point that for the health of the league,
and
listen, and the entertainment product, right? The entertainment product is so good for the NFL draft. Now, it wasn't the draft 20 years ago, wasn't what it is today, right? A traveling circus, which, yeah,
Dude,
right.
They thought when I was in the 80s, I would skip school on Tuesdays. The draft was 10 a.m. on ESPN. My mom would let me skip high school. Then I skipped my college classes. And people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm watching the draft. And I would literally watch the draft from like 10 to 5 or whatever it ended. And in those days, they just kept going. It was none of this. And here's why. You didn't have clips. Like, I might not have ever seen a tackle from, Boise State. I would wait like desperately for Mel Kiper to show 5 clips of the 20th round, the 20th pick of an offensive tackle. It was such a different world, brother.
It's the equivalent today of saying if somebody came up to you and says, yeah, I skip work on Tuesday to go watch the NHL draft,
That's a great analogy. Right. Great analogy.
Like, what kind of idiot watches the NHL draft, even if you're a fan? But, now in 20 years from now, you never know. Maybe they'll have. Yeah. But, no, and also, you're talking about the small market in Green Bay. It made me think of a quick story is that I remember, do you remember for years who the backup quarterback to Brett Favre was in Green Bay?
No, but he always got a job somewhere else, right?
Right. Well, it was Doug Peterson.
That's right. Doug Peterson.
Right. The former coach of Jacksonville Jaguars. And there's this story that the GM, what's the guy who has the podcast, Andrew, he was the GM. You'll think of it. Well, so anyway, he was the GM of Green Bay, and he can never get anyone as the backup quarterback, right? Because no one wants to move to Green Bay to never play, right? Because Favre never missed a game, and you have to live in snowy Green Bay. So Doug Peterson, he used to always have to overpay him, and Doug was like, all right, I know I'm not going to play. So he kept, even though he wasn't the best backup quarterback, he was the one, is it Andrew Brandt?
Yeah, Andrew Brandt. That's it.
Right. He always got Doug Peterson because he's the only one. Normally, you would have to pay in those days $350,000, $400,000 for a backup. He used to pay him $1 million to come live in Green Bay, and knowing he was never going to play. So
I don't ever remember Peterson getting on the field. I mean,
Favre never missed a game.
Never missed a game.
Yeah, I mean that's Cal Ripken, Favre, right? Like that. Yeah,
a different generation.
Yeah. Is there anyone in basketball like that?
Who you back? Oh, like
just
the big centers.
Yeah, no, I just meant never.
Patrick, who would back up Akeem Olajuwon?
Right.
Patrick Ewing in New York. That's a sweet cake job. I'm 7 foot and I back up Patrick Ewing.
Herb Williams, right? Wasn't that the guy?
Yeah, Herb Williams, 8 minutes a game.
Right.
That's a great job.
Right. Everyone would cheer for him. Herb.
Right. They loved him in the Garden.
You had mentioned Dylan Sampson. This is a player, Sampson, Tennessee, right, John?
Yes.
Right. So you hear his name, but he's not mainstream. He's like in the Twitter inner circle right now. I think he's going to blow up a little bit bigger, but it sounds like you like him a lot. Tell me why.
So Sampson's my number 7 running back, and I do like him. First, he hits the BMI. I don't think people realize how stout and his frame holds his weight. 5'8", 200 pounds. He has a 30.4 BMI. So that's important to me. He has a 5.9 yards per carry. My friend, he's 20 years old right now. So I did not expect him. If you asked me December 1st, there was no way I thought Dylan Sampson was going to declare for the NFL draft. He was, he had just broken out at Tennessee, replacing Jalen Wright. And they had a backfield by committee in 2023. He was incredible for the Volunteers last year. At 20, I think he's going to need time to grow into his knowledge of running the football at the higher level. I think he's going to break out in 2026 or 2027. He's so young. But here's what you're doing if you draft him. You're looking to sign him to the second contract. What will he be? 23, 24?
Yeah, 24 the most. Yeah, that's how old some of these other running backs come out at. Yeah.
Yes. So like the exact opposite, RJ Harvey, I joke. He's a one contract player. He's 24. You are going to, I think you run the wheels off of him for 2 years, and then you say, thank you for your service. It's a cold game, cold industry. Dylan Sampson, you're saying, what will he be like at 22 or 23 years of age? I do like him, but you might have to be patient. I'll say this. If you're a playoff team in Dynasty, in the second round, you draft the Dylan Sampson if he's on the board, because you likely can wait on his development.
What if you're a playoff team, you have the 210, and let's say through some other trade, you have like the 211 also. Would you give up both of those darts, both of those picks, to get up to like the 205 to take Sampson? Is he worth trading up for? Or is it just like, I mean, is he that type of a player? No, you're shaking your head no.
Yeah, I'm not going to trade up because I'll just be happy with, I don't know, let's say I get DJ Giddens or Brashard Smith or Taj. I'm just going to dip into the depth of the class.
All right, that's fair. And if there's depth, then you want to go the other way. You want to be the guy who has 205 and goes back and gets 2 picks. So you want 2 cracks, 2 bites at the apple. We spent a lot of time talking about the quarterbacks and the running backs, and you started off the podcast, Johnny Laub, as talking about that wide receiver, a lot of guys that are going to be in your lineup, no superstars. The guy that intrigued, well, first of all, do you agree that Travis Hunter is going to be a wide receiver and stop the nonsense? We're drafting him as if he's a wide receiver, or, oh, you know what? Here's a better way to phrase it simply. What do you believe Travis Hunter, who's going to be drafted by the Cleveland Browns in our scenario here, is going to be in the NFL and for fantasy?
I'm a dreamer. Travis Hunter is the best NFL prospect with the greatest upside. He's Shohei Ohtani, my friends. I grew up in a generation, I read books about Babe Ruth, and they were almost mythical looking back when I was like 12 years old in the 70s. I'm like, Babe Ruth pitched for the Red Sox, and then he hit 60 home runs, or home run Baker. Didn't he have the record with like 14 when Babe Ruth hit like 51 for the Yankees? Like, the numbers you couldn't believe, right? They just don't exist. And that's Shohei Ohtani. I can't believe the guy is such a good pitcher, and he's the best baseball player. I remember Barry Bonds going 40-40 and Jose Canseco, and that was like, oh my God. And Shohei Ohtani just went 50-50. I think people understand how incredible Shohei Ohtani is. They're going to talk about him 50 years from now.
The difference, though, John, is that in at least Ohtani in baseball, the pitching stats count. The cornerback stats are not going to count. So that's a negative for fantasy football.
But what I think is what I would do if I'm a coach, he played 1,300 snaps last year for the Colorado Buffaloes. He played 1,100 snaps the year before for the Colorado Buffaloes. Allen, I'm drafting him, and I'm going to tell my coaching staff, if this young man doesn't get on the field for 1,200 snaps, we're all going to get fired at the end of the year. I don't care how we have to do it.
And by the way, 1,200 snaps means you're playing both ways all the time. Okay.
Yes. And let's sit down with the young man. Do you want to be full-time defense or offense? How can we best utilize your ball skills? I mean, Allen, his ball skills, watch the interceptions, folks. His yes, he makes incredible catches. Man, his ball skills on defense, Allen, are out of control. Maybe he's my nickel corner, right? And in today's NFL, that gets you 400 snaps. And maybe he gets 600 snaps on offense. I mean, Allen, if you're not playing him both sides of the ball, you're not doing it right as a coach. If I'm the owner, I'm firing the coach. If I look at the end of the year and I see that Travis Hunter had 500 snaps, you're fired.
If he does play 1,200 snaps, he's going to be not the highest paid corner, not the highest paid receiver. He'll be the highest paid player in the NFL. Absolutely. After year 3.
Yes, no question about it. Allen, you've got to, I think we have a hard time embracing greatness, and I think that word is too overused. Shohei Ohtani is great. Wayne Gretzky was great. Babe Ruth was great. That's what we're talking about. And people can't see outliers, Alan. For whatever reason, they don't want to believe that there is this athlete who is just so tremendously different than everyone else. And that's what Travis Hunter is. So you got to draft him.
Johnny, I want to kiss your feet right now. I'll tell you what. Let me see. First of all, I bet you have nice toes. You strike me as a guy with nice toes.
My wife thinks I do, and that's all that matters.
All right. Yeah, big hairy big toe. I can tell, Johnny.
No, I have. You know what? Honestly, I am my Nordic blood. I am very follicle challenged all over my body.
You got a nice head of hair though on your head.
Hey, I got lucky. It all came out here. Nothing.
Yeah.
From here down. Nothing.
Prove it. Let's get it.
Well, I don't want to lose your audience, my brother.
Oh, you kidding me? That would be the highest rated podcast in the history of RotoWire if we got to see, Anyway, this is why we have fun on this show, John. But like you said, the word outlier. Now, like you said, outliers, people can't see them because that's what outliers are. They're outside the normal. Our brains don't work that way. Dynasty Etienne was kind of an outlier for his son, right? So Hunter, that's why I said, I'm not against taking him pick 2, pick 3 in our rookie drafts where he's going pick 8 and 12 and, down the end of the first round.
Oh, my friend, if you are a playoff team and Travis Hunter is sitting there at 10 or 11, you have to do it.
Free money.
Free money.
Yeah, but that's not going to be what it is. He's going to go pick 6.
Okay, I mean,
8.
And that's still a good price. Now, yes. I'll say this. I'm in an IDP league. I'm going to make the argument, and his stat, he should be the number 1 pick in the league.
Oh, yeah.
Because we get both numbers.
So I wonder if IDP is going to handle it that way. Because, like Ohtani, in some of the NFFC, FFPC.
Oh, my God. That drives me nuts.
I know. Well, just to give people an idea, what happens in some of these high stakes leagues, there's 2 Ohtanis available. There's Ohtani the pitcher or Ohtani the hitter. You could draft either one, but you're saying here, fantasy football, a little different. If you have the balls to take Hunter, you should get everything points or points. Doesn't matter how you get them, right?
Yes.
If Jalen Hurts returned a kickoff touchdown, they would say, oh, he's not a kick returner. He's a quarterback. You're right. Okay. That makes sense.
Yes.
All right.
He's out of control valuable in an IDP league, dude. As long as the scoring settings let you have both.
John, I only have you for a limited time. I mean, I know you're good to go anytime, but we
try you want.
All right, ready for a 3-hour podcast with John Laub. Matthew Golden. I'd put in a small bet for him to be the first wide receiver drafted off the board. Not at plus 150. Not that I think he's the best wide receiver, just because speed gets pushed up the draft board. Dallas Cowboys have basically told us if he's there, they're going to probably take him. They want to play from the outside in. Is Golden worth a first round pick? And it sounds like a top 15 pick in the NFL draft.
I have a grade that he would be the second half. I would love him in the NFL draft 20 to 32.
But you get one pick. You get one pick.
Yes. And I think you made the assessment based on the 40 time. And we all know the NFL overrates that 40 time.
John Ross, Henry Ruggs. I mean, we can go on and on.
Yes. And I do think you made a nice solid bet there because it seems like thank you, Jamie. It seems like Tettoria McMillan for some reason, which I don't understand, or maybe people are playing coy. He seems to be falling amongst the industrial scouting complex. So there is a really good opportunity for Golden to be drafted first. Now, I will say this, though. From a utility perspective of the Dallas Cowboys, first, I would go offensive line, but that's just me. I'm old, build from the inside out.
Well, they've specifically said outside in this year.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy, but that's
another day.
I don't like that. But when you have CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, and then you have Golden who would attack the safeties deep all the time, I get the utility of that player in that type of wide receiver passing room. I get it. But I don't know if is he a 1,200-yard receiver? he might be your 900-yard receiver averaging 18 yards a catch.
Yeah, it's Will Fuller.
Yes. And I get why. Now, the Cowboys have an unfair advantage. They got CeeDee Lamb, right? Like, that's the perfect kind of, hey, we're going to pepper CeeDee with 160 targets. Let's clear it out with, Matthew Golden, and we'll throw deep when he has one-on-one and he beats someone.
All right. So forget the Fugazi 40 time, because did you hear the controversy about the 40 time?
There's some rumors that they fixed it or
no. So here's the basics of how it goes: is that it was a hand time, right? So he did all the tape people think that he doesn't run a 4.29 on film.
He doesn't.
Right.
Not in my book.
Right. So hand time, I mean, it just takes one little flick of the wrist to get it wrong. He didn't want to run a second time. He didn't run at the pro day. So he was probably surprised. You get the 4.29, you're not running again. So yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. So overall, I mean, but he's worth a first round pick in this draft 20s, you said he would be happy with Seattle, something like that.
So here's right now, just because you have to rank these guys. I have Matthew Golden at 3 and Travis Hunter at 4, but I could be very easily persuaded Hunter over Golden. But that's where I think they're both in that, just because Hunter's going to play both sides, unless we get confirmation he's 100% receiver, but I think he's going to play both sides, then that's going to limit his touches on offense.
What are dynasty drafters getting if they draft Emeka Egbuka?
Huge floor. I think you're just talking. I've been kind of doing it projections, and landing site's going to matter. But I think he's the type of guy, 80 to 90 catches every year, but only 900 to 1,000 yards. I don't think he's a home run hitter, but he could have 8 touchdowns. I think he's such a high floor, Alan. And I'll say this, I think I'm going to have a lot of Emeka Egbuka because I think the price is going to be a price that I'm really enticed. I mean, I have a lot of Jordan Addison because he was sitting there around picks 11, 10, 11, 12, and I kept grabbing him in my dynasty drafts, and he's never going to be a star, but playing next to Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison is a really nice fantasy wide receiver.
Yeah. So you believe he'll be a first round pick?
So I have a first round grade, but I hear rumors that he might be going early second round. So he's right on that border.
Lad McConkey, right? He went early second round last year.
Yes.
So
I would not be surprised if he's second round.
So let's say the landing spot, we like it. What's a decent NFL comparison for him in fantasy? I mean, you said Addison. Is that a good one? But Addison's more of like an over-the-top.
He's a home run hitter. Right. I jokingly said this. He's Edelman and Wes Welker of the Patriots.
Usually you only save those comps for like the white receivers. You know?
I try to do something. Like, I do think he would be the perfect Josh McDaniels, Tom Brady. They would just pepper him in the middle of the field. How many times did Edelman just 8 yards?
He was a top 12 fantasy receiver for that reason. So the mock that I saw, I thought was interesting, is if he goes to Washington in the first round with Jaden Daniels, would you like him there?
They got McLaurin. Yeah, I would be pretty happy, but I don't know. Is Daniels good enough in the middle of the field? So here's what I think it was interesting. Daniels is very good at progression reading.
Mm-hmm.
Emeka could be the perfect second or third options because he's really good on deep crossers, right? So I think it's a simple play. McLaurin runs deep, clears it out. Emeka's on the other side of the field, 15-yard crosser, and then Jaden Daniels hits him in the open area. Like, that's the perfect design play.
So you like that spot for him then?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to go lightning round on a couple of these guys. Trey Harris, people liked him, and then they did not like him, the wide receiver. So where are you on Trey Harris? And then, my usual question to you, where do you think he'll go in the real NFL draft?
Third round grade. I have him at number 8 in my rankings. I think if he's in a good landing spot, let's say Buffalo. I don't know if Keon Coleman is the answer outside, and you have Khalil Shakur. So I think a Trey Harris could be a real nice player who can play your X and Z with Josh Allen. I think he's going to be quarterback dependent.
All right. Jaden Higgins seems to be a popular riser right now. What's the story with Higgins? Again, where is he going to go? Where do you have him? And what's a decent NFL comparison?
I think the NFL is going to like him more than me, but he's not a separator, Alan. He's Keon Coleman to me. I think the NFL's overrating his size. In general, those big physical guys, he's not as good as Drake London and T. Higgins. Like they're so much better than Jaden Higgins. And I hear people making comps, but I think he's much closer to Keon Coleman than he is to T. Higgins and Drake London.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap this up by give me one quote sleeper, right? You're going to give me one bust and then one player that you're not leaving any drafted out. We'll start with the sleeper.
I'm going to go wide receiver since we're on the board right here. It's Kyle Williams of Washington State. I have him at number 12. I just wrote him up in my sleepers column. Matt and I featured him, and that's Matt Hicks on the rookie big board. We featured him way back on the Senior Bowl because he ended up going to the Senior Bowl. And I said, Matt, I really like this young man. And Matt was like, but the system's a little gimmicky. I said, I get it. But man, I broke down way too much film of Kyle Williams. And my model, Alan, when I plugged in the numbers in December, my model loves him. Like it really, really likes him. So I'm all in on Kyle Williams, and he's very cheap right now. I think he's in the 4th round. I'll get him all the time.
You might get him in the 5th round, right?
Yeah, I love him. I'll tell you who I'm never going to have. Savion Williams. No way. He is Laviska Shenault and Cordero Patterson wrapped up. My model, oh my God, my model just screams red flags all over him. I understand why film watchers look at 6'4", 222. He played running back a lot for TCU. I get it. He's not a receiver. I'm sorry. He's just not a receiver. I'm not going to have any shares.
And there's no 6'4" running backs I can remember.
No, and he'll get some utility in the backfield.
Right.
But there is no, I have him at number 17 on my rankings. Oh, wow. And people, I think, have him in the top 10. And I'm like, woo, I just don't see it, my friend.
Was he productive at TCU?
Not until his 5th year.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, late breakout.
All right. Who's a player that you're not leaving any draft without? Now, I don't necessarily mean like in the 3rd round. That's fine if you want to go that way, but it could be one of the top players. Now, you can't say Ashton Genty, right? Because only one or two players have Ashton Genty, right? But like, for example, Caleb Johnson could be an answer, right? Not your answer, but because you could basically get him at any pick you wanted to if you have a 1st round pick. So who's a player later in the draft or early in the draft John Laub is not leaving any rookie draft without?
I'm going to wrap it up from the beginning. Taj Brooks, Texas Tech running back. 5'9", 214, BMI of 31.6. I love this player. He's my running back 14. He is going to be the player that I want in the 4th round. I mentioned I'm going to get 3 running backs in every draft, and Taj Brooks is going to be one of those 3 running backs.
Johnny Laub, you did it again. You follow him as I do at the Gridiron Scholar. I'll put all his links in the video description below. John, you remain one of the best and most favorited, coveted guests on the RotoWire Dynasty podcast. They love you. We usually do it once a year, but we might have to up that a little bit. I mean, you're getting better each year, and I know you've been doing it a long time, but you've smoothed out that podcast delivery, your technical skills, and obviously no one ever questions your knowledge. So I enjoy you. I enjoy our friendship. We've developed a nice little back and forth over the years. Hopefully one day we get to meet in person, so I give you a big hug.
That'd be nice.
And I could see those hairless toes that you told me about. And John, again, I want everyone just repeat one more time. Your written work's going to be over at Player Profiler for the season.
That is correct. And my video assessments are on YouTube, the Rookie Big Board channel.
Yeah, no, that's I should have mentioned that. It's a bookmark page for me, especially this time of year. And John, I want to let everyone know RotoWire right now is doing a 15% off any RotoWire product, rotowire.com, put in code ROTO15. And we'll be back next week with another Dynasty Fantasy Football Podcast.